How are we doing today? This is Insomniac Hour, and this is where we talk about, well, we bullshit about the mind and reality and consciousness and all those other things that go bump in the night because none of us can sleep. And as you can see, we're representing the East Coast, the Midwest, the Southern states, and the West Coast over here. So none of us can sleep, and obviously that is the case here. I am Josh, that is Amicus, Vince, and Dimitri down there, also known as Tumultuous, who's got his powerful sigil that he created with an artificial intelligence sitting behind him. Very cool. Very cool. And so, sigils, that's just, it's funny because I got two symbols that I got pulled up that I wanted to discuss a little bit tonight. We'll get into those in a little while. But tonight we're talking about the law of attraction, reality's construct. It's really a play on a lot of the stuff that we were talking about last night. Last night we did a lot of the foundational aspects of modern day esotericism, of kind of how it came about, how it's really a lot of it's been hijacked by what we consider the Luciferian agenda, the deception, the grand deception. How you have evil people, satanic people, whatever that really means to you, and how you represent that, who have hijacked these institutions of higher education that have forbidden their knowledge from being shared with the majority of humanity because, well, this stuff is dangerous, as you know. I mean, if you truly understand this process, which we're showing you here, which you can piece together, I haven't told you the whole exact process, but you can piece it together, you will realize that you can do some crazy shit with it. Now, there's a movie that came out called The Secret, and they did something called the Law of Attraction, which was based upon a few bases of different laws that they put together. It was really the premise of a book by the name of a guy by the name of William Atkinson, who wrote the original. I believe it's William Atkinson. I want to make sure about that. William Atkinson, who wrote the original Law of Attraction book.
You said yesterday that was kind of a watered down version of it.
No, so it's funny because that is trademarked now, right? It's trademarked now. So whenever you search for it, you get all the secret stuff. And so we're gonna go William Atkinson. I think that's how you spell his name.
I think what Josh was alluding to yesterday was there are 3 parts in that series. Everybody bought the third part in the book, or the third part in the series. They read that one as kind of like the gospel end all be all of it. And they didn't read the foundational steps to get to that law of attraction.
Right. So the actual book is called Thought Vibration, The Law of Attraction in the Thought World. And the author's name is William Walker Atkinson. Okay. And there's another guy out there, and his name, and this was interesting when I was talking about this last night with these authors, right? And there's another guy out there by the name of, what was his name? Oh my God, I just saw it. And it reminded me of so many other books out there that you guys all need to just start looking at if you love this kind of stuff. But there's only a few of them that I would actually pertain to this topic in the sense of esotericism and magic within the early 20th century. There's only a few writers. Where is it? It was just there. It was up there. It is. This power. The one book is called The Power of Concentration, and his pen name is Theron Q. Dumont. That's one of his pen names. Theron Q. Dumont, and also goes by the name of William Atkinson. So this gentleman, I think, was just an alchemist who understood things to such a high degree, and he wrote them down in a coded version, in a codices, if you want to talk about it. So if you're actually wanting to get what the real law of attraction is, I recommend going and reading that book, Thought Vibration. You can find it, just type in Thought Vibration, William Atkinson, PDF, and you can download it off the internet for free. You don't have to buy the freaking book. All these books are the same thing. Now, he goes into the book and talks about various laws in the universe that pertain to the human interaction with reality. Now, this is key because yesterday we were talking about the 7 principles of Hermeticism. The 7 principles, the 7 fundamental laws that pertain to every realm of existence. These are the natural God laws, right? These are the laws given from humanity, from man, consciousness, from God. These are derived. All physical laws derive from these 7 principles. Then we have laws of interaction. Now, what is what we consider magic. Is it not interaction?
Interaction.
Yeah.
It's interaction
Basically.
with any medium, right? Any medium. Interaction with another human being, interaction with a group or a human or organization, interaction with primarily your reality. So if anybody's followed me for a long time, I have an axiom that I live by. There is nothing that I can prove, right? This goes back to the ipsum te notius, right? There is nothing I can prove in this universe. I'm not a solipsist, I promise you. I don't believe I am God. But there's nothing I can prove upon your existence. I cannot prove or validate. I can touch you. I can slap you. I can shake your hand. I can meet you. I can talk to you. I can't validate your existence. I'm not you. I'm not within your conscious state. Can't validate your existence. The only existence I can validate is my own.
Why do you keep saying you're not so solipsist? It's like the third time you throw that out there when you're explaining your theory of everything.
So solipsism basically is a self-centric model of the universe where you are God and you're producing the reality around you.
Okay.
So when I'm saying this, right, it sounds like I'm saying solipsism in the sense where I'm saying, okay, well, the only person that exists in the universe is me and everything exists around me. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is the only existence that I can validate truthfully within my own life through self-evident validation is mine. Period. Can't do anything.
Can you, though? Can you validate your existence?
Absolutely. 100%.
Why?
Because I'm here. I am. Period. If you do a process of deduction, okay, on your faculties, right? We regress our conscious interactions, our senses.
Okay.
Right? We come down to a point of what? Awareness. A singular point of awareness, which many of us have been in this state. I am. That is that state of awareness. I am. Now that state of awareness exists within a greater field of something. The fuck is it? All of you guys, to me, exist in that field of something. And we call that it is.
How about if you're blackout drunk and you're still doing stuff and you don't remember? You don't remember that part of existence. Did you exist when you were then?
You're being controlled by the spirits.
You can't validate that you were existing then, essentially, because you don't remember.
Let's look at it this way. Why does that happen?
What? Because you don't remember?
Yeah. Firstly, you're saying remember. That's a memory.
Right.
Okay. Are you consciously aware of that action when it's happening?
No.
Bullshit.
Well, if you're blackout drunk and you honestly don't remember, you're not consciously aware. I mean, maybe you were, but you don't know that.
There you go. If you're blackout drunk, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The reason is you come to the terms that you're blackout drunk is because you don't remember after the fact. It's a past state examination, right?
That depends, though, because you can could forget minute to minute, like what's going on.
I've been blackout drunk multiple times before. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do I know that I'm blackout drunk during that time?
No.
Absolutely, I know I'm that drunk. I'm like, I ain't gonna remember this shit in the morning.
Yeah, but I mean, there's times that you think you're fine, and then you're not fine. You don't remember things. You wake up, people are mad at you. You're like, what the hell did I do?
Right. What the hell did I do? And then bits and pieces start coming back. Right?
Sometimes, I guess.
Sometimes. Right. Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean you weren't conscious through the experience. But
that's what I'm saying.
But we're also looking at a drug-induced memory. Right? A drug-induced or drug-distorted memory. I think this is just it's not a really good example to utilize for the determination of a self. Let me ask you this. Is if you go under anesthesia, right? Do people have sensations of non-locality of consciousness?
Yes.
I'm sure. Of course they do.
Do they remember it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So does that mean that everybody has it but just doesn't remember it?
Probably.
But that's what I'm saying. Could it mean that this whole existence that you could validate could just be a anesthesia and you're just chilling?
Well, I like to look at it like this. Is I can only remember, understand, comprehend what I see in my three-dimensional reality through this three-dimensional input and output system.
Right.
Like, for example, Let's say that blackout drunk, right, is me operating in the laptop on a specific website. I close that web browser out, it's fucking gone. I can't do that anymore, right?
Okay.
Right? I deleted that internet history. But that's on the physical mechanism. That doesn't mean my spiritual side, my higher self, didn't experience that. It doesn't mean I wasn't consciously aware I was here at the computer the whole time while I was surfing that internet, right?
That's a good analogy.
So that's what I'm trying to say, is we're not looking at existence as a physical being here. We're looking at an existence as something more, something greater. And when we're talking about interaction, if I deduce physicality, if I deduce reality, spirituality, who and what I am, I can't prove and validate that Vince or Amicus or Tumultuous exists. I can't be you. I can't have your memories. I can't share your experiences or your emotions. I can only have mine. Right? Okay. Good.
So we might not exist to you.
I don't know. I can't. How do I prove that?
Because I'm telling you I exist. What do you mean?
That's right. But so let's say that we're in a simulation and it's The Sims. How do you tell how do you tell a sim from a real person?
If you see them bring their groceries in or not.
Yeah, if you see them bring their groceries in or not. So think about this. Now that we have computer systems, we can understand this in a different concept, right? So think about it in Roblox, right? You guys know what Roblox is, or Sims, the game? If you go on there and you're playing, how do you know you're actually interacting with someone on the other side, avatar, and not a bot?
You don't.
You don't. So the only person in that game that you can validate through 100% certainty, because you're in that room and you're at the controller behind that avatar, is you. But guess what? That avatar exists within a construct. It. So the only two things that you know exist within that simulation is you and it. Done. Period. That's it. The only two things that truly exist in this universe, and this is where people call me a solipsist, is I am and it is. It is everything external to me. You guys are all a part of
everything else.
Which is everything else.
Including your body and your everything. So your body could not be existing either because you're outside of it.
Think about it like it's like your connection to the internet, right? It's like my laptop and my higher self are the only two things that exist. It's connected to the internet, and everything else that exists within this monitor is out in the internet world. Right? Okay. But can I go physically touch that server that website's sitting on? Can I go out and validate that information and data? How do I know I'm not living in a simulation? We don't. And that's what I'm saying is when we truly get down to it, when we try to validate existence, who and what we might be.
It's sort of lonely.
It is. But here's the thing. This is the one great lesson that it teaches you. Is that the ultimate relationship that you have is with yourself in reality.
And your mother.
And your mother. Don't forget your mother.
Which who could possibly not exist either.
I'm just kidding.
Who could possibly not exist? Well, true. Unless,
you know what I mean?
Well,
I've
who
heard
knows?
Different outlooks from people. You come to that realization, I am, it is. Right? Mm-hmm. Does it matter?
Not really.
Well, I mean, what context are we talking about?
Exactly. Does everything matter?
Yes. Well, how about this? In the conversation that we're about to have, it does.
I believe it does too.
And the reason it does is, you remember when we talked about the creation of the universe, the formulation of the universe, and one system comes in interaction with another system, they start exchanging energy, this whole thing?
Yeah.
Who are you primarily exchanging energy with? Science would say your environment, right? But your environment is really everything external to you.
That would be what are you exchanging energy with?
That's right. It's everything external to you. It's all the people you interact with. It's all the energies, all the ambience. Everything in existence is what you interact with. So this means that the primary relationship that you've developed in your life is with existence, is with it is. Which means that your energy flow is primarily determined about what you interact with.
And I think your area of influence or your area of interaction varies from person to person. Like Jeff Bezos wakes up and probably interacts with more shit around him than me.
Well, this is where we say it's a trust-based universe, and you have areas of influence. You have a primary area of influence, a secondary area of influence, and a tertiary area of influence. We talked about this a few times. Your primary level of influence is this. I just created ripples in the universe.
Your immediate surroundings.
Immediate surroundings, immediate interaction, immediate cause and effect. Secondary would be, hey, Fred, go turn off the light. Now, Fred gets up, turns off the light. That's me correlating something to somebody else, influencing them to perform an action which ripples in existence, in reality. That a tertiary is the beautiful thing. This is what makes people, this is the law of attraction. So the tertiary level of influence is the law of attraction. This is the universe as we know it, and how the energy exchange principle really works on a unified basis. Now think about this. Remember, we're saying is that the only thing that ever happens in the world, in the universe, is energy exchange, one system to another. The energy exchanges from a high state to a low state. And they both move to an emergent system that is kind of combined, that is now at an optimized state. Well, that's not reality, right? Because that's perfection. Shit doesn't work in the sense of perfection because we have unbalanced distortions and all these things. Really,
that's just like a simplistic interpretation of the concept.
Right. It's really simplistic interpretation. It's a primary process, but that process is disrupted through all these other processes that occur at the same time, through all other points of optimization, moving out of optimization to new points of optimization, which we call entropy. Entropy.
I think energy can be created. I think it can be created.
Huh?
I think energy, it says energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only manipulated. I think energy can be created.
Show me.
Human beings.
Show me. What do you mean? Explain.
How many of us are there? A lot, right? We're multiplying every day. Yeah. There's more and more of us. So now I'm not talking about the physical body now. I'm talking about the soul that's inside of every single human being. That's energy. Where are we taking energy from to convert it to soul energy?
Well, depends how you understand that. I mean, if you've always existed as a spiritual energy, then that's where that energy is coming from. That means it's not created.
Me, yes, but what about the other however many billion people are there? 8, 7, 6, whatever. It doesn't matter. The fact that like
why would that be any different?
Well, where did they all come from? Where have we, all these souls just decided to start coming to Earth, I guess?
The universe is much bigger than you can ever imagine. 1 trillion to us seems like a really big number, but in the universe of existence, I'm telling you.
There's like 100 zeros or something is the biggest number. Or
there's
about,
like that. There's about
it's called a Google.
Yeah, there's about 4 trillion ants underneath Colorado right now. That's just Colorado. So, energy cannot be created because energy is consciousness, and consciousness has existed since the beginning fabric of time and space, in my opinion.
So you don't think that there's new consciousnesses being born?
Yes and no. That's a completely different story, and that's a tangent. Okay. Let's get back to the construct of reality and kind of understand how this system works, right? So going into the construct of reality, we have a tertiary area of influence, and this is the most important because what this does is this. We live in a trust-based universe, so your universe, your existence, is always going to interact with you on a primary and a secondary level first and foremost. How you produce, or your actions and influences on the primary and secondary level, produce either rewards or consequences. I do a bad thing, I get consequences. I do a good thing that benefits me, I get rewards. Right? This reinforces a belief system, repeats the mental process inside, it occurs again. Now, what's happening after the action occurs? It's the missing part of this formula, isn't it? So last night we talked about the mental process. Remember, it goes into the belief system, habits and behaviors. Habits and behaviors cause rituals and routines, which cause the mental process, imagination, thoughts, actions, influences. Actions and influences go out to reality, reinforce the belief system.
Intention, attention.
Yeah, intention, attention. Reinforces the belief system, right? So, what is happening on the other side? Because we're talking about exchange, right? I'm exchanging. That's my process of exchange. That's how energy is going from me to it. So what happens on its side? What's its process of belief? What's its process of habit and behavior, of ritual and routine, of action and influence? Because it's the same thing replicated over. The 7 principles tell us it is so. So what is its process?
It could be an inanimate object.
It reciprocates.
How does it reciprocate?
Would have to go through the same process, just kind of
What if it's
maybe
just a
reverse
rock?
order or similar order, but it would have to take the information in the same way,
So
process it.
what do we know about energy exchange? I'm a small little system operating in a very large, big system.
Yes.
So if I'm throwing something out there, oh, please, Lord, let me win the lottery tonight. Am I throwing a small little amount of energy into a very vast field,
Yeah.
which is being evenly distributed amongst that vast field, which means that it's going on deaf ears, right?
Yeah, it's a drop in the ocean.
So with religion and mythology and all these things, what we do is we created these inanimate anthropomorphications of certain things that represented other things, and we focused our intent and attention on them and then prayed to them. We focused that energy on a symbol, on a sigil, on something external to us, which we gave construct to.
Gotta make
That's
a sigil for
interesting.
winning the lottery. Look at it every day.
Do it, dude. That reminds me of when there are movements in society where a group of people create a symbol, and that symbol is demonized and torn apart and everything by people
Media.
who disagree. Yeah,
By people who disagree. The Thule Society had the symbol of the swastika, and it was hijacked by the Nazi regime's inner circle. And then after the war, it was a demonized symbol. Which that symbol dates back in our history on this planet almost 8 to 10,000 years or more.
Yeah,
It's actually not
China.
bad. Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
bad symbol at all. But that symbol has been hijacked. Now think about how we have this loss of magic, of spark, in the world of technology. What did I say happened yesterday to the world of esotericism, the world of magic?
Turned Lucifer,
It was hijacked.
hijacked.
Now do
Now
you see why?
Yeah.
Because we all forgot how it all works.
Yeah, that's a hate symbol.
Yeah. It's red and black. It must be demon.
So,
Yeah, isn't that?
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they demonize it, but then they're actually worshiping the devil.
Yeah, right?
Well, I mean, the devil has no name for a good reason.
She also wears Prada.
Please allow me to introduce myself, a man of wealth and taste. Pleased to meet
Don't
you.
guess my name.
Won't you guess my name?
I think it's Jesus.
Well, that's a different conversation for another day. We can't have that conversation here. We're getting off tangents. Okay,
Okay,
Heard that.
let's focus here. Let's
I've got
focus here.
stuff on that though.
We all can
that
have.
conversation.
We can prove evidence for and against. How about this? Just go look at the Semitic word Lord. See
In
where it
like
derives
a-
from. What's that?
In like in what way? Like where do I look that up?
Just
Like the etymology?
yeah.
Lord.
Find what words derive from Semitic language into the Greek derivation of the word Lord.
I like Amen too. Amen goes back to Amun Ra and the Egyptian, you know.
Well, but
and everyone's like, oh,
there's a major Coptic influence. Egyptian Gnosticism was a major influence into the Christian pantheonic religions in the early 2nd and 5th century BCE. This is where the heart of Gnostic Christianity actually grew out of, and it derived from the primary foundation of a lot of mystery schools in ancient Egypt. But you got to remember, they were being persecuted. All right.
gotcha.
So going back into here, and you guys can, that'll be your little homework. All right,
Okay.
but going in here, now we're talking about sigils. And so if I'm thinking into the universe, I'm praying, I'm doing anything, law of attraction, I'm going to get that parking spot, and I'm going to get that parking spot. Well, why the hell do you always get the parking spot, but you never get the $1 million?
Yeah.
Everybody here know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Because nobody gives a shit about the parking spot.
It's
Everybody's trying to get $1 million.
yeah, there's no competition.
Right, but here's the thing, is it's energy distribution. Let me ask you this. That parking spot that you want, do you know where it is?
It's right in front by the handicap spot, and there's one
Right,
of them, and I
but
get it half the time.
And you know exactly where it's located. You know exactly what it looks like. You can visualize it in your mind, and you can focus your intention and your attention on it. Now, let me ask you this. Do you know what that $1 million looks like? Do you know where that $1 million is located? Do you know how to get that $1 million?
You ever seen $1 million?
You ever seen $1
Yeah,
million?
just
These cases just stacked like that big.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that's the difference. It's the focus of the process of how energy is distributing to the universe. You got to remember, the universe is impartial. Okay?
Yeah.
The universe doesn't go, your wish. Remember in the movie The Secret? Your wish is my command. Doesn't fucking work like that. And I have no problem getting any of those people on this show, and I'll call them out for that bullshit. It doesn't work like that.
They'd probably agree with you.
Right?
The universe has a sense of humor. You ask for $1 million like that, it gives you a briefcase filled with Monopoly money.
Well, what it gives you, how about this? What it gives you is what you deserve. You want to know why? Think about this, and this is what I want you to understand here. This is the key to the universe and energy distribution and energy return. So, just to give you an idea, this tertiary state of existence that we're talking about is how energy is distributed from you to the rest of the universe, and then the universe has to do what? If I create a deficiency within myself, I want to win $1 million, I create a deficiency, right? I'm putting that out. I'm taking an energy state, I'm producing vibration, I'm expending energy to the universe. The universe has the law of compensation, right? Principle of exchange. It's got to compensate me for that energy. So how does it do that?
That's interesting.
This is what the ancients called karma.
So there's some kind of process.
No, there's no there's the process that we've already talked about. But there is a system that you're interacting with. And that system will send you back raw, unfiltered energy in the equal amount of the distribution pattern that you created. Now write that down if you're taking notes. The system will send you back energy, raw, unfiltered, in a distribution equal to the distribution pattern you created. And what the fuck does that mean? This is the difference between Jeff Bezos and a bum on the street.
It's like you get what you
reap what you
deserve.
sow. You reap what you sow.
True. We can put all types of stuff onto it, right? But how about this? If I expend energy to Amicus, Vince, Tumultuous, and 1,000 other people, those people take my energy and extrapolate upon that idea. They go buy a book, they learn knowledge. They go share that knowledge with somebody else. That person shares it with 2 people. Those people share it with 5 people. I'm distributing this energy through other people's energy. My intentional, emotional conviction, everything within me was connected to that, like last night we talked about, remember? Intention, attention.
Yeah, your ripples create ripples.
Your ripples create ripples. So your universe has to do what? Has to pay you back for that whole energy distribution pattern that you just created.
It's gonna ripple back.
So Jeff Bezos can change the world with a single yes every day and has almost no liability. Because he puts books, knowledge in the hands of millions of people each year. And he's been doing it for well over 25 years. And his intent initially was what? I want to put a book in the hand at an affordable price to every person on this planet who wants to read a book. And guess what? I don't think he's ever strayed away from that. And so, you know what? That guy can go out and do evil. And it'll still come back to him. And guess what? It's raw, unfiltered energy. Now, the internal process, okay, of guilt, evil, occurs here, not out there. Obviously, society could ridicule you and come back and fuck you up, right? But the karmic process, as in, if I go out and produce action and influence, first, primary, secondary, tertiary levels of influence, and I get a karmic reaction in this life from that, okay? Firstly, I was messing with forces I don't understand. Secondly, is the energy coming back to me was distributed in my system. Now, how does it come back to me?
I guess it could be in various ways, I would imagine.
What does it reinforce?
What does it reinforce?
What's the first step in the process of my mental creation?
Belief.
So that energy reinforces your belief system. So what is the filter for what that polarization of that energy is going to take?
Is it
your belief system?
Ah.
Your belief system polarizes it towards whatever you wish it to be. Hence why, true story, the old lady who goes to church every day gives the church every penny she has because she believes in God so much. And this isn't a bad thing. Okay? Helps everybody. Carries their groceries, drives them to the grocery store, takes care of the sick, tries to heal them when they're sick and they're hurt.
Yes.
Babysits their kids for free, does this all on her spare time instead of spending time with her family. She's old, sick, and has no money and broke and is always broke and never has anything and is only asking God, God, please give me more. God, please give me more. God, I need money. God, I need money. I need money. God, I need help. And she's going out there and she's giving gratitude to the universe and she's helping all these people. Yet she just gets more and more poverty. Because poverty is a mindset. And the mindset is the limitation of the mind focused on the belief. It's just a filter of your reality. So the universe is continuously giving this woman more and more
Poverty.
Of everything she wants. Of everything she's mentally aligned to accept.
That's like when
Poverty.
you're saying, like, I want to find love. I wish to find love. That you're never going to find love because the universe thinks that you want to find love.
Well, that's why you have to create a mental imagery and be very specified about what that love is, what it means to you, how it's derived, what it brings about in your life, how it manifests, and even bring a model to the person you want to love.
Right.
Because that becomes your sigil.
It'll think that your desire is to be looking for love, not to actually have it, but to be looking for it. I want to find love.
Like semantics.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's like I want to find love. I want to meet the right person. It's like, oh, the universe. Oh, so you like wanting to do that? Here you go. Here's more of that.
Have fun dating for 10 years.
You like wanting to do that, so here you go. Here's more dating for 10 years. Yep.
I have an interesting thought too on similar to this. I think a lot of people are misguided with when they want something, and they say, "I'll be happy when I find love." Just, give me love. I'll be happy at that point. And then they're given love eventually. And they realize they're still not happy. And they still just keep asking the universe for something else. Without realizing what actually makes them happy.
How about this?
Or what life's about.
You have happiness right now.
Yeah.
You just have to become aware of it. You have millions of dollars right now. You just have to come into awareness of it. You do, seriously. You just have to come into awareness of it. It's the dollhouse.
Oh, I love that.
It's your mental house, whatever you want to call it. Create a mental structure of which you go, and you produce that intent. Intent, right, is focus with derived emotion with an expectation. Put it in a place somewhere, store it. Make it physical. Go out and create a fucking dollhouse in your mind. What does that mean? Everybody know what that means? I've said this many times. Dimitri, do you know what that means when I say dollhouse? Have you heard my dollhouse analogy? All right.
Yes.
So dollhouse. I met a lady, 80 something year old woman on LinkedIn, who's a master dollhouse builder. I'm like, what the hell is a master dollhouse builder?
She might be watching right now.
She could be. And she said, you know what? I spent my whole life working for other people, doing what they wanted me to do. She's the one that told me, you know what? A paycheck is nothing more than a bribe to forget about your dreams and work for someone else's. And she goes, you know what? I've always wanted to build dollhouses, and so, you know what? I'm a master dollhouse builder. And I said, well, what does that mean? And so we started talking, and boom, I figured it out. You create... My daughter wants a dollhouse for Christmas, and I wanted to build it. I first design it in my head. I go through all the construction routines, what type of parts and materials I'm going to need, what I'm going to have to go get from Lowe's. And I go through every intrinsic detail from the painting of it to the nailing it together to the architectural design to if her dolls will even fit. And if I make a mistake, I can change it instantaneously, just like that. But I review that dollhouse thousands upon thousands of times within just 15 minutes before I actually go out and build it or produce the action to derive it. And I do that in here, in my imagination, in my place of creativity, in my place that launches magic spells. Because all spells are derived from an action and an influence. And when you get really, really good at trusting this, and it has this gains trust with the system that it's operating with, basically they come to 2 points of efficiency of energy exchange.
Yeah.
You can wave the hand and make it happen.
Dude, that reminds me, I saw somebody get a job while using the F word in every single answer to every interview question.
Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
Really?
Exactly. Yes.
What was the job?
I don't remember. It was like a something. I don't know. But I was like, that is some... Basically, he got
Efficiency
the idea.
Of energy exchange.
And committed to it.
You can
and
wave
did
the
it with
hand.
confidence. And he got the job.
I want to see that interview. That's crazy.
I'll find it for you. Send it. I'll put it on the
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Send it to you too.
That's awesome.
So what's the construct of reality then?
What is it?
Yeah.
I guess it's just like everybody's stuff all mixed together.
Well, think about it. What did we literally just talk about?
The dollhouse.
Correct. Everything that we just said was
imagination.
You guys are nobody's wrong. We're talking about an interaction of two systems. Two systems operating on the primary principle. What is the primary principle? Mind. It's all mind. It's all thought. The universe is mental.
This is mental first.
I wonder if you could like plant like a thought or an inception in someone's mind, right? To show them that this is a simulation and see if they live their life differently.
Say that again?
You know what I mean? Like if you show somebody that they are in like cryovac sleep and this is all like a video game, and then you bring them back, I want to see if they live their life differently.
I believe you could do a lot of things like that, but
I think that
don't think it's ethical.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That one would be on the more unethical side because you're literally going into somebody's subconscious and rewriting their entire outlook on life almost. I mean, it is positive, but it's almost like interfering.
You need their consent.
Type of thing.
Their consent.
Yeah.
Right. Can I show you that this is all a simulation? But that think about what we just said, Amicus. Think about like their entire belief system of what they believe. Like if extraterrestrials were shown 100% beyond a reasonable doubt to be real, that's gonna do that to a bunch of people.
Show me that they aren't.
No, I'm not saying they are. I think they are. I just haven't seen any.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Show me without a reasonable doubt that they're not.
That they're not what?
They're not real.
Well, no one's seen them yet.
Who says that? I've heard lots of witness accounts of people seeing them.
Have you seen them?
Have I seen them? I've experienced them.
Have you seen like a gray alien walking around your living room?
I don't think that's how they communicate.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. Like if tomorrow, for instance, the Pentagon said, "Hey, check this out, it's a gray alien," and you went to Pentagon, you looked at them, hi EB, like, hello, like that would shatter a lot of people's like,
Right.
oh crap.
But this goes back to I am and it is. This also goes back to the empiricism of science, right? Is scientists claim there's no evidence to substantiate that they exist. And so I say, well, show me the evidence that they don't exist. And they go, well, nobody's ever seen it. I go, actually, no, here's about 100,000, 100 million case studies of people who've seen them. And they go, well, that's not evidence because I wasn't there.
Right.
Right? Oh, that's not evidence because that's not legitimate because that person's dead or that person could have been lying. So how do you substantiate evidence? It's only when you meet the alien?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or is it only when a scientist meets it? Yeah, it's only when the scientist... Okay, Edgar Mitchell. Dr. Edgar Mitchell. Fourth man on the moon. Well, he doesn't count. Paul Hellyer, former defense minister of Canada.
Boom. Huge.
Right? Like
the defense minister, man. He's sitting there telling everybody what it is. Come on.
So, I mean...
Yeah.
But these people don't want to hear that.
40,000 plays on YouTube.
Even if my brother came up to me and said, hey, I had this experience and I saw this alien. And I'm going to believe him right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't, I'm going to call him a liar? Why would he lie? I don't think there's that many frauds to where everything that people say that can't be proved is actually false. I think there's some truth to it. Because otherwise, you'd just be calling them all liars. And I think that's...
Seeing the same thing goes for a lot of magic practitioners and of that sort. Like, yeah, there's a good handful of them that are full of shit, but then they're the ones that aren't.
Well, the ones that aren't?
They're humble. They don't brag.
Not even that they don't brag. They don't care.
Yeah. They don't need to impress anybody. That's really what it boils down to.
Most of them don't even want it.
No.
So the construct of reality and the law of attraction are kind of very similar in the sense of what is actually happening, because it all relates back to a system of interaction. Now let me ask you this. Now get into physics. Now get into anti-gravity or free energy. How does free energy work?
Which one? 0 point or cold fusion?
Whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Tell me how a free energy system works.
I think it takes like a certain, like it needs a beginning. So you need somebody to push the button and then it goes from its own perpetuation.
You need a catalyst, a catalytic reaction. Well, how about this? What is the only thing that ever happens in the entirety of the universe?
Energy
transfer.
exchange.
Right.
Two systems come into contact and they begin exchanging energy. So what is free energy?
Cyclical energy transfer.
It's an energy exchange. It's simply a low energy point pulling from a high energy point.
We experience that every day.
Yeah, when you breathe, you just exchange gases like that.
But how about this? And on a more quantum level, how does an atom do that?
Electron transfer.
No, the electrons don't exist.
Decay
doesn't...
What do you mean the electrons don't exist?
Electron fields don't exist. Go to the original founder, the person who discovered the electron. His name is J.J. Thomson.
Okay.
1898. He was actually trying to figure out the wave theory, Maxwell's wave theories. And he discovered what was known as an electron and said that the electron has a field potential, but no probabilistic existence as an actual particle. His son reiterated this in the early 1900s when quantum theory was developed, but we strayed into what we know as a particle-based universe, and this was by design, by the hijacking of our scientific institutions. There is no such thing as a particle in existence. A particle, whenever you hear that word, you just think vibration. Potential wave.
What happens when I touch the doorknob and it zaps me? What's happening there?
What's happening there?
Yeah, like when it's like get that zappy.
Like how about this?
Static.
Energy's moving from a high state to a low state. It's called difference of potential. That's the only time that you can ever have a flow of energy.
But what does that mean? Why doesn't it happen every time I touch the doorknob? Only sometimes.
Because sometimes you're at a higher energy state than the doorknob. Sometimes you and the doorknob are at neutral states. Two systems are at optimization. Sometimes you're at a lower energy state. What's the best way to get to a lower energy state? Take your hand, rub it on your head, and then go touch the doorknob, right?
I know how to control that, actually. I know how to make it. You can charge yourself up with the energy, by the way,
Right.
through restaurants. It's plastic wrap. You take the big plastic wrap, and if you're standing next to an aluminum table, or if it's on an aluminum table, or whatever, steel table, and you pull it out like this, pull it straight up, you will be charged. You could feel it. You could feel the static come up, and you just touch anyone, it'll zap them. It's weird. And it happens every time. Like, I could do it like on command, obviously. I'm saying.
Well, what's actually happening there is you're producing a difference of potential. You're utilizing a system of resistance, right, an insulator, and you're separating the charge differential of the aluminum table.
Right, because the plastic is like stacked upon each other. So when you separate it, it causes that flow of.
So, but what you're really asking is how does electricity move if there's no such thing as an electron field, right?
Well, if there's no you explain that, because there's nothing as a particle, because everything's energy. Once we observe it, it becomes energy. But before we observe it, I guess it's a particle. Then no.
Well, so J.J. Thomson said that the electron exists in a field of potential. So the electron is really just a cloud of potential with a potential or the probability of an electron to exist in. Okay? But when you go through what we know is like Bohrian physics, or the Bohr model of the atom, right? You have the electron shells, the valence electron shells, so forth, right? This is what we learn in chemistry. This is how we make our science make sense. But in actuality, what's happening there is that we have different potentials of energy the further out we go. And they become more and more unstable depending on the size of the oscillation at the center, which I call the proton. Now, what we're actually talking about here is just another system of energy exchange. So what is an atom?
Proton, neutron, energy potential.
So what's the atom interacting with?
Other atoms.
No. In quantum theory, they're millions of miles away.
Ether.
What produces? So think about this. We have an atom. Okay, so let's just take, so we can break it down to quarks and mesons and bosons, and the quarks, two quarks come together with a gluon and they form the proton, right, and all this particle stuff, and the strong nuclear force is what glues them together, but that doesn't make any sense because the amount of pressure created in that particle conversion would be greater than the amount of pressure actually exerted by the strong force, so that doesn't fucking make any sense. Just like the weak theory doesn't make any sense in explaining the electrodynamic effects of quantum theory. And this is why a guy by the name of Professor Feynman developed what's known as QED theory, quantum electrodynamic theory, to basically counteract weak theory, but it's never accepted. But here's the thing, is at the end of the day, nobody fucking knows because it's a theory. And see, what they do is they keep on adding and switching things up. They keep on adding to the equations to match the evidence, to match the theory. Sorry, they keep on switching the equations to match the theory instead of changing the theory to match the evidence. That's the problem. That's the fail of the institution of science.
It's kind of, I don't understand how I don't think they can accurately measure things to get what they need to make an equation. So that's the problem.
Well, and so, I disagree with that. I think we do.
Extrapolate.
You have to extrapolate. You just have to have good architecture. You have to have a good foundational model in place in order to understand what's happening.
But hold on. This is kind of my point is, if I have a thermometer with an accuracy of 0.1 degree, when I take a temperature and put that into a calculation that gets down to a quantum level, that 0.1 of error is
massive.
Huge.
Astronomical.
Crazy. Yep. And I don't think that we have that good of sensors to actually come up with a solid, accurate equation.
They don't, and we don't, and we do that mathematically. We do that with equations which dictate that through probabilistic and statistical analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, so going into quantum theory then. So the proton, okay, can't really be working off of the strong force. The weak force doesn't make any sense. The only thing that really makes any sense is gravitation, but people don't really believe in that either. So that's like 3 fundamental laws of nature, which people are saying, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. And we have electromagnetism, which we all understand. And it's the predominant force in the universe. It's the strongest force in the universe. And this is what Dimitri's saying, is like, if I touch something, I get fucking shocked. What the hell is that? Right? It's energy exchange. Period. That's what it is. The electromagnetic force is what we call the primary mover, the prima forza. That's it.
I was told there's a bunch of electrons jumping from my finger to the doorknob because it needs more electrons.
Prove it.
I said I was told. I can't prove that. Somebody told me. I don't remember who it was.
So this is the thing, is that quantum physicist or that physicist who told you that can't define energy other than the ability to do work or the ability to produce motion. So they're basically saying is the ability to do work jumped from your finger to the door handle because the door handle needed more ability to do work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we did this the other day?
Yeah.
Newtonian definition of energy.
Yeah.
So let's think about this. So what is actually moving?
Energy.
Electricity.
No.
What is actually moving when?
What is actually moving?
When?
Difference of potential. Energy is moving from a high state to a low state. Period. That's it.
Right.
Whatever we want to call that in the center of everything that we want to do, we'll just call it energy.
Equilibrium.
Yeah, we'll just call it energy. Okay? Now, the most dominant force in the universe is electromagnetism. Like Dimitri just said. Is electrons move from my finger to that object? Great. What's moving?
Energy.
Electrons.
Energy. What is the electron? What is the energy moving in? What is the energy?
Moving in?
The least path of resistance between my finger and the doorknob.
Right? It's difference of potential, least path of resistance, right? But this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Every system interacts with another system, right? You have to have two systems in interaction. Okay. So if two systems are in interaction, and energy is being exchanged in a distance between two systems.
That was my next question.
That energy is moving through a what?
Potential field.
Okay.
A system.
Yeah.
An external system that's external to the two systems.
And I have to go back to the electron thing.
Yeah.
If I may.
Do it.
Atoms have the same number of protons and electrons.
So.
This typical theory.
Stable.
Yeah.
Stable. So if I were to shock a piece of metal, technically, if I can't have a carbon atom or whatever type of atoms I am with less electrons, technically you'd be transmuting elements when that shock occurred. If it were electrons transferring.
You're thinking too much into this.
No, this is solid. Come on,
okay.
Back me up.
Okay, say it again.
No pun intended with that, right?
but say it again. This is solid. Okay.
Okay. So let's say gold, right? Mm-hmm. Gold has the atomic number 79. 79 electrons. If I shock a piece of gold, that gold isn't all of a sudden going to be extra electroned out.
No, it rejects those electrons. Actually, gold has electrons in its valence shell that has gapping, right? In chemistry.
It'll keep the electrons and send the rest out.
Yeah, no. Which means that no. It can accept electrons because it has gapping in its valence shell, or it has an excess of electrons, which typically metals do. Metals have an excess of electrons, so they can transfer those electrons to another place of difference of potential. But they don't leave that goal. There is nothing leaving that goal. There's just an excess energy form. There's a high potential there that's stable and organized, which is like a billiard table. If I have a billiard table and I have 9 balls on that table, and I take one ball and I smash it into another, That force transfers through those balls and then is distributed to the last ball, which moves, and the ones in the middle don't move. So those electrons in that molecule don't move. But the force is transferred through them. It's being distributed through them.
Okay, so then why does the doorknob only zap me when I'm this close to it, not this close or this close?
That's a level of capacitance. That's the air breaking down between the two mediums. You guys are on the molecular.
I'm going to get to the bottom of it another. I'm going to.
Yeah, you guys are on the molecular level. I'm trying to explain a very fundamental basis here. Okay, the fundamental basis, as I'm saying, is that let's just say an electron field and a proton. Okay, electron field and a proton. Okay.
Okay.
Dimitri says, "Oh, what happens when that electron flies out of that electron field and goes to a piece of metal?"
I don't think it's.
What is it moving through? Empty space?
Air.
Do you still believe it's empty space?
I guess it can't be air.
No, it's on a quantum level.
Ether.
Magnetic force or whatever.
It's moving through a field. Just like I am and it is. This is the field that I interact with. On the quantum level, the particles, the vibrations, the oscillations, the distortions in the field interact with the field.
Or maybe it teleports.
Is there anything that can go through anything blocking the field? Like, for example, X-rays. You get the X-ray.
Dude, listen, man. We got to get a fundamental basis here of the field before we can start talking about teleportation and going through stuff, right? So let's think about this. Let's get this down, right? And then because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then put holes in my theory. Okay.
No, I'm just asking. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Put holes in the theory. But let's stay on this topic. I want to get this foundation out. So, the electron moves through the field. So, what did I just tell you about the billiard balls? About the gold?
It hits the first one and then transfers the energy to the last.
The force is distributed through the field to the place that it's going to the difference of potential. So, why do we see a photon of light when an electron is discharged? What Dimitri feels is the force. What he sees is the photon. What is the photon? Is the photon the actual energy moving, or is the photon the field reacting to the force propagating through it?
Afterwards, yeah.
Which means that the shock, the electromagnetism, all of this. If electromagnetism is the strongest force inherent in the universe, and it's a property of every single form of matter and energy, which is a containment of energy, a concentration of energy, that means that everything that's in existence in this field that we cannot see, touch, taste, smell, or hear, okay, is distorting that field to a certain extent, which produces electromagnetism. So this means that electromagnetism is the distortion, the separation of this prima facie field. Which means that...
Fascia?
Yeah, primary. This primary field. So, think about this. An electron, what is actually happening is energy is actually transferring, which we don't see, we don't understand. What is energy? Go back to the 7 principles of Hermeticism. What is the first thing that happens? What is the only thing that actually exists? Mind. Can you see thought? No.
Not in that.
So when thought moves through the field in architecture and construct with intention and attention focused towards a difference of potential, it distorts the field separates, polarizes, positive and negative, produces electromagnetism, collapses on to itself, surrounds that propagation that's moving through it, and produces all the laws of nature. So we have electromagnetism that's created there, right? We have gravity, which is the field pushing back onto the object. Remember the pebble dropping into the ocean of water? The water pushes back equally as much as the pebble pushes on the water.
And to read people's brain functionality, they do use like electromagnetism readings.
That's right. And so that's why when you're talking about measurement, we can measure it by the displacement of electromagnetism. Yeah. Electromagnetism is field displacement. Period. Gravity is distortional displacement within the field of propagation. Just like if you sat in a bathtub, you displace that water. All the water surrounds you equally distributed and moving towards the center of the mass that's distributing that water.
So the pressure is too when you go too deep.
That's right. But so the flat earthers were kind of right on that, but they were wrong because they're taking out of context the etheric field that is actually being displaced, which does not have a gravitational center of origin. The gravitational center of origin for the ether field is that point of distortion within the ether field. That's why it works.
Right, because if it was flat, then everything would be getting sucked towards the middle.
That's right.
Of the disc that we're on, apparently.
Well, so what happens when you have a major distortional rift in the etheric field? You don't have to tell them, Amicus.
Something else.
I don't know.
Black holes?
What's a major distortion?
Yeah, what is it?
It's like major distortion in the an atom bomb blowing up.
Maybe.
Explosion,
Maybe it's just a point of optimization where there has to be a difference of potential within each field. Within the field, there has to be a difference of potential for everything to flow towards. What's at the center of almost every galaxy that we've ever observed?
Black hole.
Black hole. What's a black hole do?
Releases energy.
No, it takes in energy, right?
Yeah, it sucks everything in, including light.
Doesn't it do like a...
Well, actually, it produces a toroid,
There's
right?
quasars.
Well, no, it produces a toroid. A quasar is a little bit different. It produces a toroid field, but basically what it is it's a three-dimensional gravitational object that pulls things into it through the gravitational field, right? Which means that a black hole, right, is the etheric field in distortion at a certain point. So it's the center point of this. Remember, everything is a replicating system all the way down?
Systems upon systems upon systems.
Upon systems. And so that's one of the primary systems I would look at this next point of study, right? So you have this gravitational field, which is just basically another point of distortion, probably an interdimensional point of distortion. I would imagine it's on a higher level of being and consciousness. All that is a proton on a very high level of consciousness, on a high level of being, of understanding, right? It's another distortion on a different metaverse. And around that distortion on an interverse and a counter space from that original space formulates a galaxy, which is more distortion within that field, which has to be moving to a point of balance and balance, a point of balance and optimization. And so it all flows around to the direction of flow within that universal constraint through that point of dimensionality within that distortion. And it produces all the bylaws of energy. This is why we see 2 points of funnel coming out of black holes. Remember they showed those funnels coming out of the black hole? You had the pink
like
energy. Yeah, the pink and purple energy going up and down. Right?
The donut.
Right, because it's distorting the main field. And that is the light of that field actually collapsing at an oscillatory rate. Huh. And that would produce some type of electromagnetic phenomena.
Huh.
Look at that.
Electromagnetism on crack.
We just solved the unified field theory. Yay! Yay us! And we combined it with magic and esotericism. Woo!
Nice.
We'll just create a black hole and then...
I only got lost 6 times.
I don't want to.
Only 6 times. Well, what are you lost on?
I just need to learn more about atoms. I'm learning. I'd like to.
Okay.
What were you saying?
So think about this. Oh, go ahead, Dimitri.
No. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
So what's an atom then?
Oh, it's... Look, I don't think my understanding of atoms is adequate to what they actually are. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, through the theory that I've developed, an atom is the inverse of a black hole.
Do we know that atoms are a thing? Like, do we know what they actually are? No, right? We just think they're potential.
We have theories.
It's a theoretical model.
So you remember how they said in 1947 when we started the first nuclear test trials and we launched the first nuclear bombs, UFOs started appearing? Mm-hmm. And all these people who study UFOs, who've been in contact, say that you guys made a major mistake, you guys did something bad. They split an atom. if an atom is the inverse of a black hole, and at the center of every black hole there's a galaxy surrounding it, then by splitting an atom, splitting an atom, you're destroying a whole galaxy.
Galaxies, a bunch.
Think Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot. Oh gosh. I hate it when movies come to life. Fictional movies coming to life. Gosh.
So think about this: is everything is in a dualistic perspective, right? Every system has an opposite system of existence, which it's moving to in a point of optimization of energy exchange. So this means that our point of reality, this three-dimensional space, has a negative three-dimensional counter space.
Yep. When we blew that bomb up somewhere else, a lot of something disappeared.
Right.
I think so. But, you know, it is crazy how much energy happens, but it's actually nuclear reactions are
Electromagnetic
multiple
energy.
atoms being set off one, and they all destroy each other after that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
So, what was I just saying? Right. So we have. I just fucking lost my concentration.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
Well, you started with the atoms opposite of the black hole.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you have, for every system, there's an equal and opposite system, right? So remember the two signals that we show? We show one 180 degrees out of phase, and all of a sudden they go to a point of optimization. So this means that our three-dimensional universe right now has a corresponding system that's 180 degrees out of phase, a negative three-dimensional system, that is not expansive, but instead implosive. Implosive. Instead of everything being separated by great distances, everything is concentrated within its sense.
Create a black hole.
But what do you think every CERN is doing with every one of these collisions?
So there you go. Exactly. So there you go. So now you see the averse, right? So it creates the black hole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know how CERN is colliding photons at like near the speeds of light or whatever, and some of them are,
Well,
yeah, particles.
some of the particles, and they're saying that the particles are coming out like younger, I guess, had they not have been spun to the speed of light or almost the speed of light.
You're talking fractions of a billionth of a second, though.
I know, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the collision. Like when they collide those things, does that have an adverse reaction somewhere else?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. And so this is maybe why they're all satanic and evil, is because they're destroying worlds. Shiva's right outside of CERN.
I know. I asked that lady why that Shiva was there. She never answered me.
Right? The Shiva Destroyer. Although that is a mental archetype aspect of it.
Oh yeah, they had a thing happen there, and they're like, it was a joke.
Yeah, with the stabbing of the person. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, good one, guys.
So let's think about this now, okay? So it produces this counter space, which is a negative three-dimensional perspective, 180 degrees out of phase. Everything is concentrated inside of it, okay? What you just said, oh my God, that's a black hole. Yep, you're right. But also, what is it? This means that our universe right now is extrapolated into another black hole, right? On the counter space. So this means that every point in our current existence, every point in our current universe is connected on a counter space level. It's something that's sub-Planck's length, sub-quantum level, which means that it's all implosive and interconnected, which means that there's no distance between it because it's all concentrated, which means that if we were actually living in that counter space, it'd probably just be another universe. And everything would be expansive and great distances apart. But since we are on the opposite end of that spectrum, and this is all internalized, it's the counter space to our current universe. This is why Stargates actually exist and work. Because we don't need wormholes when everything is connected through a condensed point of reality on a counter space level that is 180 degrees out of phase.
They actually found that. They found that there's a connection between all these galaxies, and they call them like superhighways. I forgot what the article was, but it was like legit. And they're like, "Oh, by the way," it was so like nonchalant, like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, we found out that all the galaxies are connected through highways."
And those highways exist in a counter space format, which is sub-Planck level. If you don't know what a Planck's level is, it's 10 to the negative 35 meters.
That's pretty big.
Billions of times smaller than an atom. It's the pixel of our reality. And these things exist at distances billions upon billions, billions to a billionth power beyond a Planck's length. Which means that it looks concentrated to us.
Right.
If all of these galaxies have a super network highway, then that only validates energy exchange.
There you go.
100%.
And all those energies are interexchanging. So now we remember system upon system upon system. So our universe is an expansive universe connected to an implosive universe, which inside of that has an expansive universe, which inside of that has an implosive universe, which inside of that has an explosive universe, and so on and so forth. Infinity.
Ad infinitum.
Ad infinitum. Not only that, is if we want to travel to the other end of this universe, you can do it instantaneously. You just have to know that vibrational point of existence. And how do you do that? Because the construct of medium, the construct of the universe is ether, and ether is nothing more than
Mind.
The only thing that is moving in this universe is...
So we're all just thoughts in a bigger brain?
Ha. You can look at it like that, my friend.
Crazy. How powerful the thought is how much you influence the brain.
Yeah. And so it's interesting too. It's called like the Bell's paradox or whatever it is, but it's the paradox that we cannot live in an infinite universe. For if we lived in an infinite universe, then all the sky would be pinpointed with stars of light, points of light.
It would just be white because they all would have had time to get to us already. Yeah.
But do we live in an infinite universe? No, we live in an infinite multiverse, which that energy is being equally distributed, creating new multiverses, which are nothing more than simple points of interaction coming to new points of optimization. So as much as a new point of optimization comes about, a new system of disorder or chaos or entropy is created.
So it will never be optimized?
It's fractal.
Well, one portion.
It ripples through infinity, and that's something that we don't really understand, right?
What if you just took a portion?
Look at a fractal and tell me where it ends. I can tell you where it begins on this three-dimensional level, but tell me where it ends.
Right. You'll know, yeah, because it keeps going and going and going.
So that brings about absolutism and totality, and
so
then
because
nothingness.
It's connected.
That's right.
Because everything's connected, it can never be fully optimized.
Well, listen, it's probably already in a fully optimized state. But here's the thing, is if I drop this pen, that reverberates through the entirety of the universe. That vibration, even though it will become undetectable, is still vibrating throughout existence. The first motion of whatever moved in the universe, the first thought, is still in existence today. Because maybe that's the point. It's not supposed to come to optimization. That's why...
Or it's optimized, but we're trying to reach that level of optimization.
Well, do you remember the classical display between the golden mean and the Fibonacci sequence? Right?
The rectangles in the spiral.
Right, but the actual significance is that the mathematical theorem is the golden mean. In actuality, it moves in relation to the Fibonacci sequence. Is that the formula, when it derives in nature, is not perfect. When it derives in nature, it's not perfect. Which tells you that the system is inherently flawed. For a reason. Because it's two systems interacting, one from a higher energy state to a lower energy state. There is no equilibrium. Only in an state of equilibrium would you have the perfect mathematical formula. Everything is moving to a state of optimization, at least in this universal context.
Yeah, the same thing backs up that if all the heat in the universe was distributed evenly to like little quadrants, that all of us would be like frozen and dead.
But what's heat?
Energy.
It's infrared energy, isn't it? It's just electromagnetic energy. So all heat is just the movement of whatever it is moving in the field.
It's infrared energy. I don't know, because when you pour bleach on something, it bleaches it. It becomes warm because a byproduct of any chemical reaction is heat too.
Go ahead and look it up.
What do you mean? I believe you. I'm not going to look at anything else. I just know that it's warm.
Heat is electromagnetic energy, known as infrared. Hard to understand, right? It's hard to conceptualize. No, it's hard to conceptualize heat as electromagnetic energy.
Yeah, it is, because like if I pointed an infrared camera on me pouring bleach on something, would it like glow brighter because of the heat?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
What'd
That
you
I
get,
can prove.
Amicus? Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Amicus?
All I know is I got night vision goggles, so I'm about to go do that. Pour some bleach. Like the green ones. I mean, I'm taking them on a camping trip.
I want one. Is it a binocular or a
Yep.
binocular?
It's a monocular. It's the single little guy.
IR is a type of energy that's invisible to human eyes, but we sense it as heat.
So this means that all fire, all heat derived from anything is electromagnetic in nature. What did I say was the predominant force in the universe? Electromagnetic energy. What is electromagnetic energy? It's the exchange of energy.
Catalyst.
It's the exchange of energy. It's one system moving to another, a high to a low. It's the law of conservation of energy. So what is the energy? Well, it's the
Thought.
it's the ability to do work. See how their fucking paradigm of logic doesn't work?
I love it.
Do you understand how hard it was for me to deal with this in high school and in college?
Oh gosh.
I sat there like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Their definition of energy is foot-pounds.
Foot-pounds. Relative to the context of what you're explaining, right?
Saying it's centimeter kilograms.
Foot-pounds is like it's a measure of work, so it's
bad.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
That's the actual thing, foot-pounds?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. I thought you guys were joking.
Pound per foot. Okay. So, totality. Now let's get philosophical. You guys got some time? I know
10.
Dimitri's probably like, out. Okay, yeah, we got 10 more minutes.
No,
okay?
I'm chilling.
Okay, we got 10 more minutes. Absolutism. Totality.
Okay.
Whatever it is, right? I am. It is. It's totality, right? Now we've thrown out some big ideas about it, right?
It is it. It's not you though. So totality.
Well, no, it is me.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I'm within it, aren't I? So totality.
I am. Yeah.
Totality and absolutism, right, would be everything encapsulated within it. Everything within it and it. Everything within it, it outside of it, if you can even understand that. But so this brings the question, is absolutism becomes incomprehensible, unimaginable, and unknowable.
Absolutism?
Yeah, totality, absolutism. Whatever all of it is. Remember, we just talked about multiverse inside multiverse, whatever the hell it is, right?
All right.
It becomes to the point where it is unimaginable, it's unknowable, it's incomprehensible. You can't
because then it wouldn't be
comprehend
total.
That's
it
right.
wouldn't be total if you could, yeah.
So whatever it is, I don't know.
Whatever it is, I don't know. That's right. So we just call it absolutism or totality, right? So did this thing derive from nothing?
I don't think so.
How do you define nothing?
Can't.
You can't,
Why can't you define nothing?
because it makes it something.
The moment you put a definition to nothing, it becomes something. So does nothing exist?
As long as we don't talk about it.
The one thing that does not exist in existence is nothingness. For it cannot exist for the moment that even it exists in conceptualization, it is something.
Yeah, like if you ask somebody, like, what color is nothing?
So let me ask you this. What's the difference between nothingness and absolutism? They're both unimaginable, incomprehensible, and unknowable.
The difference is that they're opposite.
And what is the primary function of the universe? What is the primary thing that happens in the universe?
Distortion of energy transfer.
Energy transference between one system and another system, opposites
From
in
nothingness
nature,
to the absolutism.
from the masculine to the feminine, from the expansive to the implosive. What is nothingness and what is absolutism?
That makes perfect sense.
It's the ultimate paradox. All paradoxes are reconciled, right?
So like that's nothing. Well, one side is nothing, the other side is absolutism, and we are the line in between.
Well, that's interesting. You said that. I got a picture to show everybody. This picture is a symbol that is very, very old and esoteric, and usually it is misinterpreted throughout the esoteric realms in the world, and it has been for a very long time.
Dimitri, you just described the Vitruvian Man.
Yeah.
That's at the intersection. You're at the cross right there.
So what symbol do I have up on my screen right now, guys?
The yin yang.
It is the yin yang. I haven't even put it up there yet. Now I do. Now
I can't see your screen.
Now, how many parts of the yin yang are there?
4.
5.
Oh yeah. 5.
Or it's just all inclusive.
How many parts are there? I don't know. Let me think.
I would say 5. I would agree with Amicus. Or 2. It's either 5 or 2.
Big circle.
3. 5 or 3. Yeah, it's the circle, black, white, and then the 2 black, white dots.
The divider.
There is no spoon. There is no box.
6 parts.
I know nothing.
Sermons from the cave. Good job, buddy. 7.
Is there 7?
Does the whole thing count as 1?
Oh, shit, that's true.
No. Start at the center. You have the S curve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 dots.
Yep.
You have the circle around.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the space outside.
The space outside got me. See, that's what there were 6.
And so what does this tell you? What is it showing you?
7 hermetic principles.
It's showing you 7 hermetic principles. It's also showing you what?
Energy exchange.
Energy exchange, the most fundamental principle of the universe. The only thing that ever happens in existence.
Absolutism, because that white will never freaking be on the other side, and the other side won't have that little black dot.
It also shows you nothingness.
Yeah.
Why? Remember, I told you the universe isn't perfect. It's flawed. What do you notice about the yin-yang?
Freaking not perfect.
No, it is. It actually is perfect. It's in an optimized state.
I want that thing to just be normal.
Which means that the white cancels out the black. You have to look at it.
Because if you think about it, yeah, that's right. Because then the black circle would have to be a little bit bigger or smaller, because the white is actually like there's an outline around it, essentially, right?
So on a metaphysical level in your mind, if the yin yang is at a point of optimization and doesn't actually exist there, then the space around it has no purpose of existence. It's nothing.
It's void.
It's void. It doesn't exist. Period. So it isn't right now. What you are looking at is the most esoteric symbol on this fucking universe.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Actually.
Now, here's the other thing I want to show you. Is it showing us the principle of energy exchange, is it not? It's showing us space and counter space, white and black. It's showing us energy moving from a high to a low. It's showing you that energy distribution. It's showing energy moving to optimization, right? It's showing that the system is contained within a larger system, the space outside of it. And it's also showing you the one thing that most people don't understand, and that's the S-curve. Right? Now, by the way, the yin-yang itself forms a tertiary system, forms a new emergent system, and it shows us the S-curve. Now, what do you notice about the S-curve? Does it hit the middle first? Does it hit the outside edge first? Does it hit the lining first? Or does it hit the whole S-curve all at the same time? It's instantaneously at the S-curve, right? So that means that the S-curve, and this is the middle of the yin-yang where it all comes together, is the point of convergence of energy exchange from a high to a low. Right?
Right.
So, if we have a point of convergence, right, where everything is occurring, all the energy is being exchanged, that means that any energy beyond that point, behind it, is either the optimized system moving into play, which means that it's not in a state of energy, it's in a state of those two waves, 180 degrees perpendicular, right? Optimized that you can't see. Right? So that means that the only state of entropy of this organization is at that S-curve. That means that all of existence, time, that is the timeline. All of existence, the moment happens at the S-curve. The only point of existence that ever happens is the S-curve.
Instead of that, it would be like looking at the future.
And the past.
That S-curve is your event horizon.
It is. It's the point of convergence.
It even shows gender, too.
There you go.
Everything. Everything. You can literally look at a yin yang and just describe anything you want. It'll fit in there because it is the epitome of everything and nothing at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it explains everything that we talked about. It could literally sit here for hours and do everything we just said with that symbol and break it down.
Cool.
Interesting, huh?
Totally.
So that wraps up our 3-day seminar on magic, esotericism, reality's constructs. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I did. I learned a lot, too.
I don't think we ever did 3 shows where we could actually just throw it in and say, this is it. Right?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned that I know nothing.
This is just the beginning, because guess what? That was just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, it's the foundation. I kept on going back. Stop going on tangents. We have to go to the foundation. We have to build a foundation. Now, once we build this foundation of knowledge, now it begins. Now we can... What is an aha or epiphany?
You learn something you did not know that you did not know.
And that's evolution.
We've all just evolved a little bit.
That's right. You have to learn a foundation of knowledge that changes your belief system, that changes your paradigm in order to evolve. Aha. Now you can start learning on a completely different level. Because you have a new foundation of information to work upon. Fucking amazing. I hope you guys did enjoy this tonight. This was awesome. What's up, Dimitri?
No, it's up. I already started doing that. What you just said. Awesome. Learning on a different level. I gotta look up a bunch of stuff.
All right, guys.
Me too.
Well, this was fun. We'll be tomorrow night. We have Fringe, Conversations on the Fringe with Heidi Hollis. That will be on this channel, live streaming at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's going to be a great show. Please make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button, like, comment, and share if you have the opportunity to. And then after that show tomorrow, we have Fringe After Dark, which if you are not a member, you go on over to our Linktree. That's Linktree, so it's linktr.ee/Redpill Project. And then tomorrow, there will be some links turned on, so you can go and join us for Fringe After Dark. That's a Patreon Plus or Master of Patreon subscription on our platform, or $5.99 to Venmo.com. But that only occurs tomorrow. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys all there tomorrow. Much love, respect, God bless. Take care. And maybe tomorrow or maybe next week we'll get into the whole Jesus thing. We'll invite sermons on and we can have a good discussion. We'll see what happens.
That'd be fun.
Oh.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.